Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim Watson speaking on the 6th of January. Let's have a look at the market, starting off with the pound dollar here. As you see, yesterday we managed to actually break the lows of the previous spinning top that was sitting there, so that's not really had any impact. We're now running down towards sort of double bottom territory, but looking at the sort of bigger picture here, and I mean, certainly we're in this downward trend. We've had, several days down now. We did have a doji in between. I was looking to see if we had a sort of a significant number down, but we haven't really with that doji. But we are tracking pretty well down towards the monthly S1, and that I put a previous low in there at 145. 63, 64 sort of area was the previous low. The 146 may just start bringing be a key enough level to slow things down, but at the moment it's looking very weak. The Asian session price action hasn't really helped us too much, and the targets wise from where we are, well, the nearest target would be the S1. Pivot's marginally pinched today, not particularly, but if we do see any sort of continuation like what we saw yesterday, and that sort of same sort of range may lead us down towards the S2 area. Now, news-wise today affecting the pound really. At 9:30, we've got the services PMI figures coming out, and then we've got the US data coming out, which may affect at 1:15. May give us a bit of a kicker around about that time, and the US services at 3 o'clock. So three times there: 9:30, 1:15, and 3 o'clock to watch out for. The latter two on most currencies that we're looking at here. Okay, so potential for, as I say, further downside, bigger move may come right the way down to that 146 and beyond. 146 isn't too far away from the S2 there anyway, so it may just give us a bit of support in that level. But at the moment, it's just like the dropping knife. I'm not looking trying to catch it at the moment necessarily, unless I get a signal. Right, looking at the dailies on the euro here, same sort of thing here. We broke I've drawn this sort of channel that was sort of starting to run across there. We broke that yesterday, and it continued down for quite a bit of the afternoon as well. We've seen a continuation of that since. Again, we've already taken out the daily pivot there. I've drawn a trend line on the top there. When this candle's finished, we may have a trend line run across the bottom here, which may give us a setup potential for the S1, the daily S1. Again, stepping down, lower highs, lower lows, very much in a downward trend here, and it's again not really wishing to catch the knife in this sort of market. Running back to those dailies, is really we could be just looking for the monthly S1 would be a logical point. Just looking to see if there's support elsewhere. The thing is, when the market's run into a trend like this, and it's broken through all the support levels that you'd normally look for, the moving averages, it's broke through all those. It seems that there's obviously, from most traders, there's little in the way of support. So there's little sort of there's few areas apart from the psychological whole numbers where they may be looking at putting support or targets or looking to buy at. So it's almost that self-fulfilling prophecy of it just sort of running through and continuing. Okay, dollar yen. Yen has continued its strengthening against the US dollar here, so it's continued on its way down at the moment. It's, as I said yesterday, it's come back to that sort of range that we saw in September, and well, it's really breaking that sort of level now. It was sitting there yesterday within that range. It's in this sort of October lows now. It's the next sort of key level, and then we could be down for the monthly S2. It does look relatively weak accordingly. Again, no support levels sitting there. Okay, and Aussie dollar. I mentioned this wedge yesterday, and we broken out the bottom of this wedge. We have come to double bottom territory. It has actually got some sort of double bottom territory here, which is hit on the dailies. As you see, we've seen probably a bit of reaction from that at the moment. Again, daily pivot R1 being taken out here. We may find a bit of support again down into the S2. Excuse me, but if the rest of the markets and we start to see the continuation move towards the dollar, US dollar, we can still see this running through. Again, the pivots are here slightly pinched. Finally, the Canadian dollar. Well, again, most of the move, as I was saying to the guys in our trading room, perhaps we need to be getting up at 1 o'clock to trade. A lot of the action gone through 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock time. We've broken through this prior high here on the Canadian dollar, so that leaves us really well out of sync. So I'm just looking for, I mean, you really have to go back to the 2000s, early 2000s here to find another point of possible resistance. There's one just above us there at 140, 149, but I mean, really, perhaps we may be looking at that 145 area again. So as a possible now. So it's sorry, it's a bit of a message chart, too much on there for now on those higher time frames, but probably 141 maybe with the R1 above us. But the Canadian dollar obviously losing out even more, and probably not helped by the fact that the price of oil's dropped back down and dropping off again. It's back. I mean, the sort of the rally we saw the new year start with soon faded, and really we could be looking for that $35 barrel and maybe less again. It's interesting how everyone's trying to catch or call the bottom at the moment on oil, but we'll see what the bottom is once it's done. Okay, but at the moment we've not really put any. I mean, when you even looking at the dailies, we've not been putting any sort of proper higher lows in yet. So, or even higher highs in effect. We just straight a few days up, and then it's just rolling back over again at the moment, and looks relatively weak. Okay, so that in itself is knocking onto the Canadian dollar, and what with the other uncertainties, we're just seeing weakness with the dollar, Canadian dollar, and it's pushing up further. So there you are. That's it for today. News-wise, as I said already, UK services PMI at 930, 115. We've got the ADP non-farms. The hawkish effect that we've the hawkish talk that came out across the holiday season may give a little bit more focus again onto these jobs reports and gives a bit of volatility around about that time. 3 o'clock is services PMI, or non-manufacturing PMI as they refer to it as being, at 3, and actually I almost missed the 7 o'clock news, the FOMC meeting minute, so at 7 o'clock. So certainly some potential volatility in these markets today. That's it for me. Have a great day. Bye for now.